And there's a great quote from Albert Einstein. He said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler.
This week, we are brought to you by Attest. Attest is a consumer research platform that enables brands to make customer understanding a competitive advantage with continuous insights. By combining unparalleled speed and data quality with on-demand research guidance, the platform makes it simple and fast to uncover opportunities with consumer data and grow without guesswork. Hello and welcome to the Shiny New Object podcast. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and this is a weekly show where I have the pleasure and the privilege and the excitement of talking to one of the leaders of our industry. And this week is no different. I'm on a call with Alexandre Blumenthal, who is EMEA Marketing and Communication Lead at Lenovo ISG. So, Alexandre, for anyone who doesn't know who you are and what you do, can you give the audience a bit of background?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Tom, for having me on this exciting podcast. Like you said, I'm responsible for marketing communications at Lenovo ISG. ISG is the Infrastructure Solutions Group, which is, in short, everything that has to do with the data center, I would say. I've been with Lenovo 15 years, so quite a veteran in Lenovo. But I've started my career in sales at a company called Dell. So I have a sales and marketing background and have the pleasure now to lead the EMEA, so Europe, Middle East, and Africa team that looks after, I would say, 18 markets in total. And not only look after marketing, but also the comms piece. That's, in short, what I do at the moment.
So in your career, what has been the biggest fuck up? What was that awful facepalm moment where you thought it was all going to end and you wanted to get swallowed up into a dark hole? But looking back, you're glad it happened.
Yes. So in a sales and marketing role, you always need to thrive to be, or to give your best performance. And I always felt in my career and very early on that I delivered the performance that was needed. But I never saw the progress. So you see colleagues left and right being promoted, and you continue to sit in your cubicle and think like, what's happening? So I asked my manager, like, why am I not progressing? And he said, Alex, yes, you're you're delivering solid numbers and results, but you're not visible. And to hear this criticism, while you think, hey, I've done everything that I can, was sort of the biggest moment in my life where I said, wow, I really fucked up. Because I was thinking I did a great job, but no one saw what I did. And I've taken this really, really close to my heart. And every team I've now worked with is, and every person I give the advice to say, team, you need to be visible. You need to deliver something, because you will not be known for, hey, this person has sent out 100 emails this year. Great job. No, you need to point out what you've done and brag about it. I think people don't brag enough. Perhaps that's a European thing, because in the other cultures, people brag a lot about what they've done. I think in at least the European cultures I've worked with, people don't do it enough. So from that perspective, it hurt a lot, but it also revealed things that I need to do differently. And
now you're on a podcast to brag about what you've done so far.
Exactly.
Okay. So how do you do that if you're not a natural bragger or not a natural extrovert? There'll be introverted people listening to this podcast thinking, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be visible. I just want to do a great job.
And it's actually not easy. It's also something that I challenge the teams with, is give me the one highlight. It doesn't need to be every day I need to brag to my manager, hey, I've done this, have you seen? Because then it's overdoing it. But if you manage to distill this one thing that you're proud of, and then build a story how you did it and why it was great, and it's backed up by numbers or facts on why it is great. So it can be a great video, it can be a great digital delivery of marketing, or whatever you do in your profession, but distill it down and every quarter make it something that you put in your calendar where you sit down and think about what was the best thing I delivered this quarter. And I bet it's not easy, because most of the time we do boring stuff. Everyone thinks it's shiny, like this podcast, shiny new objects, but most of the time you do boring stuff.
So that's a great bit of advice to help progress your career, but give me a tip, give me a marketing tip that you find yourself sharing most often.
Well, a marketing tip would be something that I also see a lot of times happening. We are overcomplicating. And there's a great quote from Albert Einstein, and he said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. And it sort of relates to perhaps a marketing topic that people might relate to. Keep it simple, stupid. So the KISS principle. But sometimes, and that's why I like the quote so much from Einstein, is make it as simple as possible, but not simpler. Because we don't have only simple products. But when you look at a smartphone or you look at a PC, these are complicated things, but they're made as simple as possible. So a grandma can use a smartphone, a kid can use a smartphone, and a regular adult can use a smartphone. So to explain the functionality, you could write a book about it, but you can also explain it in a few sentences. And I think that's the advice I would give. Think about your marketing and see how simple you can make it, but not simpler.
So I love that. And I'm aware of the quote, and I can see it on mugs all over the world in different agencies. But I'm reading the Pixar book, the Creativity Inc., I think it's called. And I can't remember the name of the chap who wrote it. Basically, he says that like there's this real addiction to simplicity that, if someone says, oh yeah, let's make this really easy and really simple, no one's going to go, no, like, because we're all looking for the shortest, easiest, like, Euro path to make things super straightforward. But in reality, in a creative business like Pixar, animation, story, pacing, technology, like all of that stuff, it's incredibly complicated, and it's balancing the complexity that matters, not looking for this simplicity for the sake of simplicity. So I think I sit somewhere between Einstein and the Pixar person, and I'm starting to actually worry when people say, let's make this really simple, because these are complex things. Marketing it's so many things. It's chaos. And yet we're always trying to kind of make it simple. So have I got this wrong, or is it just make it as simple as possible every time?
No, that's why I like the quote, because Einstein says, make it as simple as possible. And sometimes simplicity has an end to it. Because otherwise we do marketing and just say, we have a great product. I mean, that's, I think, as simple as you can get it. But that is oversimplifying. So you still need to talk about the complexity certain things have. And if you're a hi-fi fanatic, you want to understand what are the frequencies level of this speaker, what is the maximum volume, what have you not, right? But it is as simple for your target audience as possible.
But no simpler. Right, I get it now. I get it. This episode of the Shiny New Object podcast is brought to you in partnership with MadFest. Whether it's live in London or streamed online to the global marketing community, you can always expect a distinctive and daring blend of fast-paced content, startup innovation pitches, and unconventional entertainment from MadFest events. You'll find me causing trouble on stage, recording live versions of this podcast, and sharing a beer with the nicest and most influential people in marketing. Check it out at www.madfestlondon.com. So we're now going to talk about your shiny new object, and I'm really excited about this one because it wasn't what I was expecting from you. And your shiny new object is being real. So what do you mean? Why is that a shiny new object?
It's a shiny new object because I think I've seen too much. I always call it fluff, and we use quotes and sort of claims in marketing where we think a lot about what the claim is and what it means for us as a company, but we forget about that we talk to normal people. And by normal people, I don't mean simple people, but people who have a normal life and who are not in marketing most of the time. And I can give you some examples from things I read recently. So I've been on the Procter & Gamble website, and their claim is making every day more than ordinary. What does that mean? If I use a Procter & Gamble tea bag, is that making my life more than ordinary? I don't know. Or we could use Unilever. So both companies, I think, have the biggest marketing budgets on this earth. And Unilever says driving superior performance with our purpose-led, future-fit business. And I don't know what that means. I don't understand it, even though I'm in marketing. And that's what I think my shiny new object is. Talk real with customers so that they understand what you do. And if you would ask me, what do you mean by that, is, hey, we need to sell something because we're a company, and tell them we are addressing you, dear customer, because we have this great offer for you, and here's why you should buy it.
So what do you think P&G and Unilever should be doing, like specifically? Extrapolate on being real in that scenario.
Well, like I said, they should talk about, we are a company with different brands, and we want every brand to be successful. And that is what I mean, because that's the ultimate goal that they have. They want their brands to be successful. So why come up with a claim that masks things, where you then have sort of a politician talking, but not what is the purpose of your company?
But I would argue that line, I know I've put you very much on the spot on a podcast, that line isn't marketing. I would say that line is internal comms, whereas marketing is to make your brand stand out from the market. That is the purpose of marketing, right?
But even in marketing, if we then look at certain products, let's say will make your clothes even whiter than white, or will increase your performance by X%, or look at the products that we use on a daily basis with Word, PowerPoint, Microsoft products. Are we even using everything, all the functionalities? Again, I think you could say you have to have Microsoft Word. You will only use 20%, but we got you covered we have 80% reserve, basically, if you want to do different things, like a mass mailing or whatever. So
what are the steps that brands need to take to become more real? Can you give an example from your own work where you've brought realness into it?
Yeah, I think realness is that you first, obviously, and that's always the starting point of any marketing campaign or idea, is understand your customer. So you have to start with, who is my target audience? What drives them? What do they need? And include what they want to hear about. Oftentimes, again, because we are driven by different stakeholders within our organization, and they will tell you we have the best product and the newest product, but you have to translate that into your customer voice. So, dear product development team, what does it mean to have the fastest product for our customer? or the most secure one? Do people even care? Because everyone accepts cookies for whatever reason, but everyone shouts out to have, hey, I want the biggest privacy. So know your target audience is the starting point. And then the campaigns that were most successful were the ones where we directly talked to the audience saying, okay, you might not have heard about this product yet from Lenovo, but let me give you 3 examples of why this is the best thing. And then another thing that we use is the customer voice, which I'm in B2B marketing at the moment. You see the star ratings that you have on a lot of e-commerce platforms. And why not use this in B2B as well? And use customer quotes in your marketing activities to give this again. Why should I invest into an AI solution or an edge computing solution? And let the customers talk about it and not your own marketing team or product development team.
So the way to be real is to be empathetic and then put your customers in front of potential customers and then let them do the talking for you.
Yes. And in the marketing that you deliver, be honest. What do you want to do?
I'm enjoying this. What do you do in the situation that a lot of marketers find themselves in, that they don't have the best products? Like, not everyone works for the leading person, the leading product, the leading whatever, and they have to pay the bills and they have to work for the number 2 or number 3 or the number 50 or even like a challenger or a new entrant into that market. If the truth is that they should buy another product, then what do you say?
Well, you always have competition, right? And I think if you don't have the best product, you might have the best price. You need to find the niche and then decide, if I don't have the best product, what is the unique feature and why does the company even exist? So it might be the loyal customers, it might be the price, it might be the distribution, the go-to-market. Let's look at Amazon as an example. They didn't have the best technology to begin with. They started out as a book online company. So what was their unique thing? Wasn't marketing, but it was their delivery model. And that is what they bragged about, that you can have a wider choice and you don't need to go in the city center, pay a parking lot, and then buy a book there in a bookstore. Right. So, and that is where you as a marketing team or a marketing decision maker need to challenge your own organization as well as, guys, we might not have the best product, but what makes us unique? And then talk about that real. But obviously not if you don't have a superior product, don't talk in a marketing campaign. We have the shittiest product in the world. No, that obviously wouldn't work.
Well, maybe might get some clicks. But Alex, unfortunately, we are at the end of the podcast now. So if someone wants to get in touch with you and talk about being real, where is the best place to do that? And what makes a great outreach message to you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. You can, if you type in Alexandre Blumenthal Lenovo, you should find me on LinkedIn. And please don't spam me with, can I have 5 minutes to talk to you about our great services? Make a pitch, on a real pitch, why you want to reach out and why I should spend 5 minutes with you. And take the time to research what I do. Half of the contacts I get on LinkedIn are unsolicited things of marketing that I'm not responsible for. If you read my profile, you understand what my responsibility is, and of my hard time that I would spend with you. Keep a real message and send a real message to me on LinkedIn. Yes.
That's great advice. Alexandre, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tom. It was a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Hi. Just before you go, I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to write a review of the Shiny New Object podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever it's called these days, or whichever podcast provider you use. We're an indie podcast, so it would go a long way for us if you could just share the word and give us a bit of a support on those channels. That'd just be fantastic. If you haven't got time, that's also cool. And yeah, if you could tell your colleagues about the podcast, and also, if possible, don't forget to subscribe. And I'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to speak on the podcast or be a guest, or you think I'm asking the wrong questions, anything, I'd be super interested to hear what you think. So please email me at tom@automatedcreative.net. That's TOM at, I'm not going to bother spelling it. Anyway, you'll work it out. Thanks so much.